Hello friends, welcome to the solution video of mock test 6. So in this video, I'm going to discuss 25 questions. Here you have to enter valid email address. This will help me for giveaway contest. First of all, thank you for taking the mock test. Take mock test regularly so that it will boost your confidence. If you are visiting first time to my channel, make sure you're going to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get instant notification whenever I upload a new video. Moving on to first question, for the transistor to act as a current source, MOSFET and BJT should be operating in which region they are asking. So, if MOSFET is operating in saturation region and BJT if it is operating in linear region, they both will be acting like a current source. If I am talking about an amplifier design, in the case of MOSFET, it should be operating in linear region, whereas if I am talking about BJT, it should operate in saturation region. So these conditions you should know. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 3 is correct. Next question is based on universal gate. So what the assertion they are telling is, any given expression can be realized using universal gates. Yes, you can realize with the help of universal gates. What the reason they are telling is, NAND gate and NOR gate are the only universal gates. They are telling are the only universal gates. We know that apart from NAND and NOR gate, we will be having multiplexer, demultiplexer, encoders, decoders, ACE gate. So this falls under universal gate. So assertion is true, but reason is false. So the corresponding option that is going to follow is option 3 is correct. Moving on to the next question, what they are telling is contents of accumulator AX is what they are asking. Now look at over here, first statement is move AX, 10. So here in the instruction, I have not written move AX, 10H. So 10H I have not written means this 10 is in decimal. So this will be converted by the compiler to the hexadecimal format. So 10 in decimal is equals to A in hexadecimal. So if I am adding A plus 9, what is A? It is in decimal it is 10 and 9 means in decimal it is 9. So 10 plus 9 is 19 in decimal. But what is the equivalent value of 19? It is 13H. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 2 is correct. So many of them have messaged me in the Telegram group that this image has not been downloaded properly while giving the mock test. Which of these theorems are applicable for nonlinear networks? First option, Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem. So what is the definition of this? In any linear bilateral network, this statement is wrong. Superposition theorem means you are going to make use of individual responses, that is summative together, nothing but you are going to add individual response and then you are going to take it together, and it is applicable only for linear network. Millman's theorems, if you are having n number of parallel voltage source or current source, you are going to replace by an equivalent voltage source or current source. So Millman's theorems also can't be. Telegrams theorem is the one which will be applicable for linear network, non-linear network, passive, active, time variant, time invariant. For all sorts of systems you can apply this Telegrams theorem. So the corresponding option that's going to follow is option 3 is correct. Next question, what they're telling is identify the odd one out. So many of them they will be thinking is L divided by R, nothing but Henry divided by Ohm, and it is Ohm times of Farad. So how can we relate these kind of things? Now look at over here, you should be considering with the time constants. If I am talking about RL circuit, the time constant is given by L divided by R. If I am talking about an RC circuit, the time constant is RC. If I am talking about an LC circuit, it is square root of LC. But what is 1 divided by square root of LC? It is omega R. It is omega R. Right? So the odd one is this one. Nothing but 1 divided by square root of LC. Option 4 is correct. Droop rate gets affected because of hold time. Now look at over here, always there exists a trade-off between a droop rate and an hold time. This hold time and setup time, as I discussed, it is a very much important topic, especially if I want to convert an analog signal to digital signal. What I am going to do is sampling I have to do, then I have to hold for some time. If I am holding for some time, the major problem is number of samples taken will be less. So number of samples and hold time is always an trade-off. So always trade-off exists between a hold time and number of samples. So that is how I can define the droop rate. So droop rate is a function of hold time, or I can tell droop rate gets affected because of hold time. So the corresponding option that is going to follow is option 2 is correct. Odometer is used to measure rainfall, altitude, relative humidity, temperature. We know that odometer or rain gauge is used to measure rainfall. Altitude, we are going to make use of altimeter, and relative humidity we are going to make use of hygrometer, and temperature we know that we are going to make use of thermometer. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 1 is correct. Which instrument is going to measure what? That is very important. Next question, when two amplifiers of gain 100 and 200 are connected in series, the equivalent value of the gain is. Now look at over here, I am having two amplifiers of gain 100 and 200. If I am connecting in series, what is the equivalent gain? The equivalent gain will be the product of individual amplifiers, nothing but it is 20,000. If I want to express in dB, so what I can do is I need to write it as 10 log of 20,000, provided the gains are in power. If it is voltage gain or current gain, how I have to express means 20 log of 20,000, right? But this option is not matching, nothing but 20 log of 20,000, none of the options are correct. But 10 log of 20,000 if I am doing, I will be getting 43. Or I don't know what is the value of 10 log of 20,000. So how can I write means it is 10 log of 2 into 10 power 4. Now how I can express means this 4 if I am bringing over here, so it is 40 into log of 2 plus 40 into log 10 to the base 10. So I will be getting 43. Or one more method is you take 10 log of 100 plus you take 10 log of this 200, I can write it as 2 into 100, which is equals to 10 log of, how I can write this 100, I can write it as 10 square, always it will be in base 10 format only, plus 10 times of log 2 to the base 10 plus log 10 square to the base 10. So this is 20. So this one I will be getting 20 log 10 to the base 10. Log 10 to the base 10 will be 1 plus 10 into what is log 2? It is 0.3010 plus I am getting 20 into 1. So upon solving I will be getting 43. Upon solving I will be getting 43. Right? Next question. Arrange the impurity concentration of emitter, base, collector in an increasing order. Nothing but they are talking about doping concentration. Doping you are going to do less in the case of base and followed by collector followed by emitter. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 3 is correct. Many of them will be thinking that collector will be lightly doped followed by base will be moderately doped and emitter will be highly doped. This is wrong. Base is the one which is going to be doped less followed by collector followed by emitter. If I am talking about the fabrication part, so let me take a silicon wafer. So what I am going to do is first I am going to fabricate or I am going to build this collector terminal. If I want to make use of NPN transistor, so I will dope with N, followed by what I am going to do is I am going to pour p-type impurity. I am going to pour p-type impurity followed by emitter, right? So this one will be emitter. Now if you are taking a cross section, of this part, so how you will be getting is emitter, emitter followed by base followed by collector. So emitter, base, collector. Only you are going to take this part because this part is the active one. So in textbooks they will be talking about this one, but fabrication will be something like this, so that nobody will be speaking. Moving on to the next question, what they are asking is, consider the op-amp MU741 in inverting configuration mode. The power supply is plus 12 and minus 12 volt. Calculate the output voltage. If I am making use of inverting configuration, it is sure that this terminal will be an inverting terminal and this one will be a non-inverting terminal. Because in the case of inverting configuration, non-inverting terminal is connected to ground. Now what is the output expression? So output expression is given by minus RF divided by R1 times of V1, nothing but input voltage, which is equals to minus 15K divided by 1K into what is the input you are applying? It is 1 volt. So I will be getting V0 equals to minus 15 volt. But the power supply itself is plus 12 volts and minus 12 volts. So I can't get the output voltage which is greater than 12 volts, or on the negative side which is less than minus 12 volts I can't get. So your op-amp gets saturated at minus 12 volt. Your op-amp gets saturated at minus 12 volt, nothing but none of the option is going to follow. Now look at over here, I have given an option as op-amp gets damaged. So this is one of the trap question. So V0 equals to minus 12 volt is the answer. But practically if I am speaking, I will be getting V0 equals to minus V saturation, that is approximately equals to minus 11 volts. So 1 volt let's say you will be getting practically. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 4 is correct. Calculate the drain current given mu1 times of Cox, which is equals to 5 milli, aspect ratio equals to 2, VTH equals to 1, channel length modulation, that is lambda, which is equals to 0.1. Now we know that op-amp is operating in a saturation region, because if I am talking about VDS, so this terminal is drain terminal and this terminal is gate terminal and this terminal is source terminal, because in the case of NMOS, the lowest potential will be the source one and the highest potential will be a drain one. So VDS, if I am comparing with VGS minus VTH, anyway source terminal is connected to ground, so I have to compare with VD with VG and VTH. So what is the value of VD? It is 5. What is the value of VG? 2 minus VTH value is 1. 5 greater than 1, right? So the op-amp is operating in a saturation region. In the case of saturation region, the current expression ID sat, which is given by mu1 times of Cox into W by L into VGS minus VTH the whole square whole divided by 2. This is the current expression if I am not considering channel length modulation. If I am considering channel length modulation, it will be 1 plus lambda times of VDS. It is 1 plus lambda times of VDS. Now what is the value of mu1 times of Cox? It is 5 milli. Aspect ratio means W by L. It is 2 into what is the value of VG? VG is 2 minus what is the value of VS? VS is 0 minus VTH value is 1 whole square whole divided by 2 into 1 plus 0.1 times of what is the value of VDS? 5 minus 0 will be 5 only. Now this 2 milli and 2 milli I can cancel. So I will be getting 5 milli into 1 square, that is 1 only, into 0.1 times of 5 will be 0.5 plus 1 will be 1.5. So what is 15 5s? It is 75, decimal I have to make. So it is 7.5 milli. So the corresponding option that is going to follow is option 2 is correct. If you are not written by 2, you will be getting 15 milliamperes. So this option I have made it as 15 milli. So again it's a trap one. And if you are not making use of 1 plus lambda times of VDS, so at that time you will be getting 5 milli. So I have given 5 milli also. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 2 is correct. Calculate the equivalent resistance between the terminals AB. Now look at over here, let me consider this resistance as R1 and this resistance as R2 and this one to be R3 and this one to be R4. If I am making use of Wheatstone bridge, so it is R1 times of R4 should be equals to R2 times of R3. Since LHS equals to RHS, you can remove this internal resistance. You can remove this internal resistance. Upon removing the internal resistance, what you will be getting is the final circuit will be something like this. You will be having only the outer resistance of 2 ohms. Now I need to consider the terminals, that is AB, and I have to calculate the equivalent value. So the equivalent value across AB, which is equals to, what is 2 plus 2? It is 4. What is 2 plus 2? It is 4. So these two things are connected in parallel, which is equals to 2 ohms. No need to make use of star to delta network, delta to star network. So many of them will be thinking that this is a star network, let me deduce to a delta network and let us solve. So this is based on Wheatstone bridge with a balanced one. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 1 is correct. Next question, circuit acts as if A input equals to 0. Let me consider, if my output is 0, what I will be getting? 0 given to an AND gate with 0, I will be getting 0 over here, complement will be 1. 1 if I am giving over here, what is 0, 1 given to an AND gate will be 0, complement will be 1. So I will be getting always 1. So we are having 3 multivibrators, monostable multivibrator, bistable multivibrator and astable multivibrator. In the case of monostable multivibrator, you will be having only one stable state. In the case of bistable multivibrator, you will be having 2 stable states. In the case of astable multivibrator, you will not be having any stable state. If you want to make use of oscillator design, at that time you are going to make use of astable multivibrator. For memory, you are going to make use of bistable. For coffee vending machine or for triggering pulse and for weighing measurement, you are going to make use of monostable multivibrator. Means instant trigger you want, you are going to make use of monostable multivibrator. Say suppose if this output node somehow it is making 0. Somehow with the help of noise I am making it as 0. What is 0, 0 given to a NAND gate will be 1. 1, 0 given to a NAND gate will be 1. So 0 I am not getting. So 0 is something like an intermediate state. But the stable state in this circuit is 1. So only one output you are getting. Rest all the things are intermediate one. So it is a monostable multivibrator. That is option 1 is correct. Number of prime implicants and essential prime implicants for the given SOP, they have given f of A, B, C, D, which is equals to summation m they have given. They have given the inputs as A, B, C and D. So it is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Sequence you have to write properly. Summation m of 1, 3, nothing but 0 cell, 1 cell, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12, 13, 15. So it is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And don't cares of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. Now what they are telling is number of prime implicants and essential prime implicants they are asking. If I am talking about a prime implicants, so I have to go for maximum grouping. So this is one nibble. This is another nibble. So I got 2 nibbles. This is the third nibble. This is fourth nibble. This is fifth nibble. At last the sixth one will be this one. This is sixth nibble. So I got prime implicants as 6 in number. But if I am talking about essential prime implicants, that cell which has grouped only once. So if I am considering this cell, it's been grouped only once, right? So this is an essential prime implicant. Now if I am talking about this cell, this one is also an essential prime implicant. Now if I am talking about this one, it is been covered by this grouping as well as this grouping. So essential prime implicants are only 2 in number. So prime implicants are 6 in number, essential prime implicants are 2 in number. Nothing but option 1 is going to follow. You should be in a position to answer for minimal expression also. Now if I am talking about minimal expression, I can go for this grouping. Now look at over here, if I am doing this grouping. So what is the equivalent value? A bar, on the column side it is D, plus I can go for this grouping, this nibble grouping. So it is AB, and I can go for this grouping. It is A times of D bar. So almost all the cells I have covered. So the minimal expression is A bar D plus AD bar plus AB, or I can write it as A XOR with D plus AB. So this is the minimal expression. If they are asking prime implicants as essential prime implicants, in the case of prime implicants, you have to check for all sorts of possibilities and you have to go for maximum grouping only. You can't do this one as a pair and this one as a pair. You can make use of a nibble, right? So go for maximum grouping. So if this cell would have been, one or don't care, at that time I should not make use of one nibble grouping, one nibble grouping and one nibble grouping. I should not do. Directly I should make use of an octet. So the suitable option is option 1 is correct. Moving on, next question. Address of trap interrupt they are telling. The trap interrupt is RST 4.5. RST 4.5. In order to calculate the address, what you have to do is multiply 4.5 with 8. 8 5s are 40. 8 4s are 32 followed by 36. So the address is 36 in decimal. If I want to calculate the hexadecimal address, so what I have to do is 36 you divide by 16. 16 2s are 32 followed by remainder is 4, which is equals to 24 in hexadecimal. So if they would have given 24 and 36, at that time you can opt for 24, because always address will be calculated in hexadecimal format. Since they have not given the address in hexadecimal format, you have to go for other set of formats, that is a decimal one. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 1 is correct. Next question is based on tunnel diode. What they are telling is assertion they are speaking with respect to heavily doped PN junction. Yes, tunnel diode is heavily doped PN junction. This statement is correct. But what the reason they are telling is tunnel diode has negative resistance in its characteristics. Even this statement is also correct. Now if I am talking about the characteristics of tunnel diode, the tunnel diode characteristics will be looking something like this. So this part is a negative resistance. Just because of negative resistance, it is not heavily doped. So assertion is also true, reason is also true, but it is not giving the proper explanation. So just because of negative resistance in its characteristics, it is not heavily doped. So the corresponding option that is going to follow is option 2 is correct. So moving on to the next question. For a logic family, you have to arrange VOH, VIH, VIL and VOL. For a logic family, we know that always VOH should be greater than VIH, should be greater than VIL, should be greater than VOL. So if I am talking about one inverter driving another one, so at that time you need to consider with respect to noise margin. So this one will be VOH, this one will be VOL and this one will be VIH and this one will be VIL, right? Now if I am talking about noise margin high, so if I am talking about noise margin high which is given by VOH minus VIH. Noise margin low, if I am talking, it is VIL minus VOL. So VOH should be greater than VIH, should be greater than VIL, should be greater than VOL. So the corresponding option that is going to follow is option 2 is correct. Next question is based on assertion and reasoning. As temperature increases, concentration of electrons and holes increases in an extrinsic semiconductor. This statement is a true case. If I am making use of N type, so in this case electrons are more in number and holes are less in number. As temperature increases, more electrons will be released when compared to holes, but there will be an increase in concentration. But if I am talking about P type, holes are more in number, electrons are less in number. As temperature increases, more and more electrons will be released and less electrons will be released. What the reason they are specifying is at high temperature, extrinsic semiconductor behaves as an intrinsic. Even this statement is also a true case. Now if I am talking about an intrinsic semiconductor curve, which is something like this. But if I am talking about an extrinsic semiconductor curve, which will be like this. So at high temperature, your extrinsic semiconductor will behave like an intrinsic semiconductor, right? And you need to be very much focused with respect to lattice scattering and impurity scattering. In the second mock test, I have given a question based on lattice scattering. So for this, assertion is true and reason is also true, but it is not giving the proper explanation for assertion. So I need to opt for option 2. Now in this question, what they are telling is, what will be the power consumed across the resistor, current source and voltage source. Now in this current source path, 1 ampere current is leaving. Across this resistor, what is the voltage? It is 1 volt, because it is parallel, right? 1 volt is appearing across this current source also, 1 volt is appearing across this resistor also. So it is 1 volt. So 1 volt divided by 1 ohm, it is 1 ampere. So entire this 1 ampere current is flowing in this path only. And no any current is flowing through this voltage source, so the current is 0 amperes. If I am talking about the power across this voltage source, it is 0 watt. If I am talking about the power across this resistor, it is 1 times of 1 ohm is 1 watt. If I am talking the power across this current source, it is actually giving the power, it is not consuming. If I am telling how much it is consuming, means it is minus 1 watt. Negative indicates it is not consuming, it is giving the power. So it is across resistor means it should be 1 watt. Across current source means it should be minus 1. And across voltage source it should be 0. So 1 minus 1 0 will be option 3. Next question. While framing the question, I just made a mistake. What they have given is microprocessor 8086 is to 1 MB and microprocessor 8085 is to dash. So first option is 512 KB, 64 bytes, 1 kilobytes, 65.5 kilobytes. Actually it should have been 64 KB, or if I am writing, it should be 65,536 bytes. So while framing the option, what I thought is 1000 means kilo, like that I have related and I have framed this option, that is 65.5. But approximately if I am choosing option 4 only, you should choose. 512 kilobyte is out of box, 64 bytes is very much less in number, 1 KB is also very much less in number. So the closest one will be 65.5 KB. How I will be getting the addressing capability or the storage space means, if I am talking about the address bus in the case of microprocessor 8086, it is 2 power 20. So 20 address lines and total addressing capability will be 2 power 20, that is the storage space. So I will be getting 1 MB. But if I am talking about microprocessor 8085, it will be 2 power 16, which is 65,536 or 64 KB. So the total option that is going to follow is option 4 is correct. Next question. Zener diode and avalanche diode exhibits dash temperature coefficient. We know that Zener diode is going to exhibit negative temperature coefficient and avalanche diode is going to exhibit positive temperature coefficient. So the total option that is going to follow is option 3 is correct. And in the case of Zener diode, we need to talk about Zener breakdown, and in the case of avalanche diode, we need to talk about avalanche breakdown. So breakdown will be talking in the case of reverse bias mode. So in the case of normal bias or in the case of forward biasing, your Zener diode and avalanche diode will be acting like a normal diode only. Next question. In the case of microprocessor 8085, if the clock frequency is 5 MHz, calculate the time required to execute an instruction of 12 T states. If you want to execute 1 T state, it is 1 divided by the clock frequency, which is equals to 1 divided by 5 mega. So I will be getting 0.2 micro. So if I want to execute 12 T states, so it should be 12 multiplied by 0.2 micro, which is equals to 2.5 microseconds. Which is equals to 2.4 microseconds, nothing but option 3 is going to follow. Next question. Circuit will be acting as if A input equals to 1. Say suppose my output equals to 0. This 0 will be coming over here. This 1 0 given to an AND gate will be 0 over here and a NOT gate will become 1. This 1 will propagate over here, 1 1 given to a NAND gate will be, so here it will be 1, then it will be getting 0. 1 0, again it will be 1, again it will be 0, nothing but you will be getting a curve which is something like this, charging, discharging, charging, discharging curve. So this one, if you are passing through a 555 timer, so across the capacitor you will be getting this sort of waveform, and across pin number 3 if you are calculating, you will be getting, or if you are taking the output across pin number 3, you will be getting rectangular waveform or square waveform based on the values of R1 and R2. So this circuit is an astable multivibrator design. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 3 is correct. Next question, number of digit 1 present in the binary representation of, so this is an hexadecimal format, so I can write 5 B C F. If I want to write in decimal format, it is 5 times of 16 power 0 plus B into 16 power 1 plus C into 16 power 2 plus F into 16 power 3. So this one I have given over here, but actually it should be FCB5 in hexadecimal format. If I am converting into binary, what is F? It is 1111. What is C? 1100. What is B? 1011. What is 5? It is 0101. How many number of ones are there? 4. Here it is 2. Here it is 3. Here it is 2. 4 plus 2 6. 6 plus 3 9. 9 plus 2 11. So the suitable option that is going to follow is option 3 is correct. For communicating with slower peripherals, microprocessor makes use of ready pin. This is a simple one. Next question, in a pure resistive circuit connected in a particular way, voltage across particular resistor is V1. If all the resistors get tripled, voltage across the same resistor, that is across this resistor, will be what they are asking. So in order to understand, let me make use of two resistors which are connected in series, and let me name the resistance as R1 and R2, and the total voltage is V, and voltage across this R1 is V1 and voltage across R2 is V2. Now what is V1? V1 equals to total voltage multiplied by resistance of that branch divided by total resistance, that is R1 and R2. In the next scenario, what I am going to do is I am going to make use of 3R1 and 3R2. So voltage across this is given by V1, which is equals to total voltage into resistance of that branch, that is 3R1 divided by 3R1 plus 3R2. So this 3, if I am taking common, I will be getting the same value. So that is same as V1. Nothing but option 1 is correct. So this is the result sheet what I have taken. So the topper has scored 36 marks. Number of candidates who took the test is 15 number. So from the Craving Gan team, I would like to congratulate Veena Hesari for topping this mock test. If you followed with the solution video, please give it a big thumbs up. Also share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to my channel Craving Gan. All the best for exams. Thank you.